To order, it is Wednesday, December 23rd. This is the Broadwater County Commissioners' General Business Meeting. Would you please join us and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Elaine called. She is homesick today, so she will not be joining us. Just some very quick housekeeping. These meetings are recorded and they are on YouTube. We follow Robert's Rules of Order. The purpose of the Broadwater County Public Meeting Policy is to open Broadwater County public meetings to all county citizens. We realize we have a fiscal and fiduciary responsibility to conduct county business as efficiently as possible for all Broadwater County residents. Commission meetings are recorded and on YouTube, so please state your full name prior to any public comment for the record. Any separate conversations need to be removed outside. Outbursts will not be tolerated. Public comment and all comments should be directed to the board chair. So with that, we have a couple of things on the agenda. One of the things on our agenda says these issues and times are subject to change. I'm going to actually switch us around a little bit if it's okay with you guys and start with public health after mail, and then we'll get into the sheriff discussion. We have a couple of things that I want to make sure we get taken care of because they are pressing. So the first one was brought up Monday. Let's start with the mail. We have the Montana Department of Revenue. This is a sample letter that's sent out to taxpayers, and that is for taxpayers who need some help on their property tax payments. And if you could pass that back, Franklin, we'll give it to Ann for the record. You can get a copy if you like.
Okay, I want a copy.
We also have the Olympus Technical Services. This is the groundwater monitoring work plan. They have been monitoring the groundwater where there were some old tanks from old gas stations. And that's a report of what they have found.
There's another one copy, there's no particular while we go through that.
We also have a letter of support. This is from Laura Erickson. She is the grant writer for Lewis and Clark County. Here's a copy. And what she is doing is putting in for an assessment grant for brownfields. Brownfields is what the Olympus Technical Service is. It monitors potential superfunds, gas station leaks, that kind of thing. This is a support letter for a tri-county coalition to utilize assessment funding if Lewis and Clark County is awarded the EPA Brownfields Assessment Grant. I can read the whole, I'll just summarize the letter. Anybody who wants can read it. We'll pass one around if you like. Broadwater County has a number of older gas stations that are ripe for assessment and, if needed, cleanup and redevelopment. There are funds for that through brownfields. Currently, our hospital is interested in purchasing an adjacent property for that expansion and property that was a former gas station. We have the benefit of being a part of the coalition that accesses brownfields RLFs. It would be a benefit to rural towns greatly to have assessment funding to assess properties that may then spur redevelopment. We have multiple small communities throughout the county and a total population of just over 6,000 people. We are truly a rural community settled by homesteaders in the 1860s. Thank you for including Broadwater County as a member of the coalition. And then this groundwater monitoring work was done on the Pop-In site as well as the parking lot that's right next to the extension office. If anybody wants to see either of these, you are welcome to them. And Franklin, are you okay with signing this letter of support? It doesn't cost Broadwater. It doesn't cost Broadwater County anything to be a part of this coalition. It's just to be able to monitor and possibly get funding for cleanup. Are you of the same mind?
I know a lot about that stuff. In fact, when you was talking about that parking lot over there, I took the tanks out over there. I found the leak that time and turned it into the state.
Thank you for that. And we've been monitoring it and used Brownfield's funding for that. So to continue more of that good work, are you willing to sign this letter?
And, said I wasn't going.
Okay, for the record, I will move that we sign the letter of support with Lewis and Clark County for the Tri-County Coalition for EPA Brownfields Assessment Grant. No second? Okay, please let the record show. Support of that grant failed for lack of a second. All right, moving along, we have a pending grant. This is with DPHHS, and this is for our Public Health Department. We will have to address that. I believe the deadline is January 31st. I'll have to look at that. That is for the record.
I'll talk with, I want to find out from I see we got a health person here before I'm going to go ahead with anything.
No, we're not approving that. I just want you to know that it's here.
Okay.
It's something we'll have to work on. We also have an email on the distribution of lifespan respite voucher program information. Same thing, and I'll want those on the record. So you can get copies if you like, but we need to give those back to Ann.
Yeah, I want copies of this too.
All right, so, public health interim staffing decision. What we have are a number of grants that we need to get on. We also have clients that need to be served. We have a couple of things that we need to do that came up on Monday. We have, first of all, a job order confirmation from A to Z Staffing Solutions that would allow us to get an RN into our public health office immediately, since we do have a vacant office, that could go ahead and hopefully seamlessly pick up the grant administration, servicing the customers, the citizens, and we have requested WIC certified. Are you okay with sending this to A to Z Solutions to get this started, Franklin?
I guess I could throw some names out there, but are they certified for this WIC programs and all the stuff that's going on? And besides a background check, there's a lot of things going to be considered in this.
There certainly is, and that's what A to Z Staffing Solutions would do. Here's the contract. We would go to them and say, this is what we need, an RN who is WIC certified, and they would come back to us with that person, and they would administer them. They would pay their health insurance. We pay them a contract fee, and this is just temporary. This is what businesses do when they have a vacancy that needs to be filled while the process is started to look for permanent replacements.
This was $30 an hour, I guess, huh?
Well, 27 to 30, and that includes the wrap rate, Franklin, and that is health insurance, work comp, federal and state payments. Even our employees have a wrap rate.
I know we gotta do something, because I feel for the people that these gals are serving over there. And like I said Monday in the meeting, this meeting shouldn't even be taking place. I mean, this should never ever happen. But it has, and so I don't know what the solution is gonna be for sure yet. I'm not against a temporary fix, but to me it looks like it's gone. One person caused all this. And I'll say that again. I said it Monday and I'll say it again. How one person can foul up so much and make such a hell of a mess. That's what we're stuck with.
Are you okay with sending that to A to Z?
I'll think about it.
Okay, we're running out of time to think about it because we have a vacancy and citizens that.
Which should never ever happen.
That's, okay, so second topic that I want to talk about is we have somebody locally who is interested in helping us out. I don't want to say her name publicly, as she is not, she's just a citizen who stepped up to help. What I would like is either a closed door at the end of this to approve that, or your approval to try and get somebody in who already knows the clients, who's willing to step in immediately. She still needs the oversight of an RN, but she knows the clients, she knows the program, and she's willing to step in and help. Are you okay with that, Franklin?
I think before we do anything, we're gonna have to have somebody from the state to advise us and be here on this stuff.
We need to think about servicing the citizens, Franklin, and getting that office
Yeah,
staffed.
somebody should have thought about this a long time ago if they brought all this up.
Franklin, we have an issue that has a long history to it and a paintbrush that includes everybody, so pointing fingers at one person is unproductive at this point.
Yeah,
What we
I guess
need to
so.
do-
That's-
What we need to do is be aware of what the issue is and work on a solution. Are you willing to work on a solution to help with the A to Z staffing solutions, or this person who's local who's willing to step in?
Somebody's got a question there.
I will take questions as soon as we are at a point where we have discussion of the public.
I'm not
Franklin?
discussing anymore. Go ahead with the public discussion on it.
Okay, moving on then. What we have to do at this point is find out if our current staff is, are you working tomorrow or is that a holiday for you?
It's a holiday.
Okay, so today's the last day. So Franklin, based on what you've said so far today, I'm gonna take this as you're volunteering for this, but somebody needs to go to the public health office, work with our staff to get passwords, Outlook calendar or their appointments, keys, lay of the land, so that we can direct the next person, ongoing issues, things that need to be worked on the next couple of weeks, contracts list, that kind of thing. Are you willing to do that today, Franklin?
Go ahead there. I'm gonna step over the authority limit and tell you to go ahead.
So,
No, we're not taking any public comment yet. We need to work
this
this
is
out.
directly in regards to the public health department, the WIC office.
I know.
You can't just come over and get passwords.
We're gonna have to. It's called an exit interview, and it's what management does when they have a vacancy in the department. You come over and you get what you need so that you can go ahead and keep things
You
operating.
can't. Everything is federally and state funded, which means that anybody you put into our position, you have to get that through the state. You
We
can't.
understand that. We understand that. We've been working on that.
Okay, well, you're not getting any of my passwords, because nobody's getting under my stuff in the WIC office that is ran by the federal government to do stuff in the WIC.
Okay,
Not
thank you, Clara.
happening.
Thank you very much. We are in contact with DPHHS.
You haven't been in contact with WIC because I just talk to them every single day, 2 to 3 times a day.
I'm glad you have, Clara. We have a job to do to keep
I know
services
that you
going.
do,
Okay, all right.
and you haven't done it.
Okay, thank you very much. So what we need to do is figure out how we're gonna staff that department, Franklin, and how we're gonna handle the exit interview portion of it. Are you willing to go ahead and step into that part of it, the third part?
Well, yeah, when we meet with the correct people, and just like Claire just said, the feds are involved in this, and I tell you what, when the feds come in on this investigation, it's gonna be something, I'll bet you. And
Okay.
I'm sure it's bound to be coming. I don't know how else, what else would happen.
Okay, so you said yeah, we'll go ahead and take that for the record, we've let the record show. As
Yeah.
far as A to Z, I would like to submit that so that we can start then working on somebody that can help us out in the interim. Are you in agreement?
No. My signature are not gonna be anything, so when the feds come, I'm clear.
All
I
right.
got another question out here from a
Um,
citizen.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Harold, I'll go ahead and take
Franklin,
authority.
Franklin, you are not the chairman of this commission. We are going to keep order today, period. So, I'd like the record to show I'm going to motion that we go ahead and request A to Z Staffing Solutions, start a search for someone, an RN who is WIC certified to help us out to keep the doors open for the public health office. Is there a second to the motion? Please let the record show that the motion died without a second. And I will request a closed door at the end so we can talk about the local who can help us out, who needs the RN supervision. And Corey, I'd like to ask you to sit in on that, if you would, for us.
Can you have a closed door meeting on something like that? Doesn't sound
You said,
like.
and we'll
She
need to-
has rights to privacy, I would think, because she has not put in her name. And whenever we interview someone for a position, that is done as closed door. We have laws that say you don't have to tell who has applied for a position. So wouldn't that be the same thing, Corey?
I guess let's talk about it and not here, but we'll talk about it and figure out what actually you intend to discuss, and then I'll let you know. But I mean, if it's
Yeah, if you
a
think.
simple
that-
matter of how you're gonna fill a position, that's not really a right to privacy issue.
No.
Or how you're going to provide coverage over the interim basis, that's not a right to privacy issue.
No.
If there's some other aspect of it that, where that's needed, then we can discuss that. But I guess I can't tell you right now without knowing what you intend to discuss.
That's perfectly fine, and we can open the door if it should be public, but I think that based on the fact that this person is a private citizen, we should give them the benefit of the doubt first. As far as the A to Z, yeah, I think that's definitely public.
So, and I just got a message that my trial got canceled, so I don't have to leave, but did you guys decide on the A to Z? Just,
We decided not to act.
Decide on what?
We decided not to act,
Right.
okay, so what are we doing next week?
closing the doors.
We need to do something. I mean, I think the alternative is then one of these vacations gets canceled. Until they're, if that's what we have to do, we have to have that service next week.
At this point with the holiday, it's doubtful that A to Z would have an answer by Monday. I think it's worth a question, but we can't even get that question without the commission agreeing to pursue A to Z staffing solutions. If the other has to happen, then we need to decide together as a team, who's gonna have their vacation canceled.
Sure was no team when all this underhanded stuff's been going on for the last, I don't know just how long, evidently it's been for a few months, I guess.
Franklin, what you're talking about is nonsense. Let's stay on task. You are not speaking honestly, so let's go ahead and just work on what needs
Who
to be
speaks
worked on.
honestly? I think we've got more comments coming out here from, go ahead, Corey.
I'm just telling you, we have to have
Yeah.
we have to take some action today in order, or tomorrow, in order to provide this public health service next week and really from going forward. I don't know what the plan is for going forward, but whatever it is, you commissioners need to make that plan and do it. And we can fight I don't care, fight all we want about whose fault it is, and I'm sure we know what's going on, but there has to be public health service of some kind next week.
Is there another idea you would like to bring to the table, since you don't like the A to Z or the local at this point? What's another idea you have, Franklin?
I'll have to think about it.
Well, and we may have to have another meeting tomorrow.
I don't know that I'm available tomorrow, but I think what we may do is
Maybe Elaine can be here.
we can just table this until we're able to talk further on this afternoon, or later on this morning, and move on to the next agenda item. Is that agreeable to both of you?
Sure.
All right.
I ultimately, I mean, you have to, the commissioners have to figure out a plan and do it. All I'm telling you is, from a requirements point of view, we have to have some kind of capability and coverage next week and going forward. So
Yes.
that's what it is.
Harold, you've had your hand up. Comment?
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to know is, has there been a final decision made on how the DPHSS or whatever it is supposed to be managed? Has there been a final decision on that?
We don't manage DPHHS.
Well,
We're
I'm
a state
talking about as
agency.
far as the managers for it. Are
That's
they-
what we're working on today, Harold. Yeah.
Oh, well, looks like to me that they probably should have done that first.
All right. Any other comments on this? Brenda?
I don't know who the citizen at large that's looking at applying for the position, but I know if it involves a certain dollar amount or anything like that, it has to be properly advertised and open to all the public.
You're absolutely right, and this was maybe something for Corey. In the past, when we've had to hire somebody on an interim basis, we've been able to do that just like we're doing today for the undersheriff or the sheriff position. DES, we were able to have somebody step in who knew the program, and they were able to fill it in interimly for 1 year. This would be the same type of thing, I would think. and maybe that's something for the closed door later, or is that something that we can discuss now?
But
It's a federal.
what I understood you presented was this person and/or combined with A to Z person for the immediate need. The beginning on Monday through, what I'm guessing is a month or two until you decide how you're gonna manage county health, whether it's county or whether it goes within the hospital. And if it stays within the county, then a hiring process for those further employees. So if that's what we're talking about, then we're talking about a short period of time. And we have to make sure that they're qualified, because there are a lot of requirements that go with that position.
I got a question for you two gals. Can somebody just step in there and take this over?
For the WIC, no, the WIC actually has to, the state WIC actually has to authorize, they need to look at everybody's transcripts, because you need a certain amount of nutrition education unless you're an RD, a registered dietitian. But you still have to go through all the proper training with WIC, and they have to grant that access. So, until that's all done, and it took Misty and I about 3 months.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on then to appointing an interim sheriff and coroner. First of all, I wanna thank, yes, Corey.
I owed you a little more information on the appointment law, and I've got that answer if I
Oh.
wanted to tell you that at the outset.
Okay,
So what I had told you was unclear 2 days ago was whether the statute laid out as we contemplated. And the answer is that it does. So under 7-4-2206, 2A and B, what it says is the commission may appoint an interim person to fulfill those responsibilities until it does an appointment for the next period of time, which would be, pick a date, let's say January 15th or February 1st, whatever that would be. From then till the election is certified for somebody to fill the remainder of the sheriff's term. So we've completed year 1 of a 4-year term of the sheriff's term. So no matter what you do in terms of picking someone to fill the position now or in a little bit, that person's appointment is only valid until the November general election 2016 is certified. The applicants or candidates or whoever will run to fill the remainder of that 4-year term. So they'll basically run for a 2-year and month and a half term. And then in 2018, that will be the completion of this term. In 2018, there will be another general election for the next term of the sheriff. I really didn't explain that very clearly. Whatever happens between now and November, that person that's appointed will be just filling the office until the voters select who is going to fill the remainder of the 4-year term. Okay, and that, because it's happened at this point in December, there's time for the regular filing period in January, primary election, general election, all that stuff.
So basically, it's everything, like you said, Monday.
Well, what I had told you on Monday, that's all the same. What I had told you on Monday is it wasn't clear to me whether if you picked someone today as an interim,
Oh.
whether that was the appointment that was for the rest of the year, and it's not. The interim appointment that you would pick today, or you would select today, is for the shorter period of time until you can do a full, as Harold had suggested, application process with a public hearing, and maybe it's 2 or 3 people that apply, and people can interview them and all that stuff. So this is a very short-term coverage. You'll expect to do an appointment sometime after the new year for the remainder of 2016 until the election, okay? You'll end up doing 2 appointments. It could be the same person, it could be whatever you want to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But now we have to take applications?
Say again?
Do we have to take applications?
Whatever process you determine to do, but obviously we recommend that it's a public process, that there's applications where everybody gets let's say you get 3 applicants. Then the public knows, here are the applicants, and we're gonna have a meeting, maybe a hearing where we'll ask them questions, or whatever it may be that you decide to do. but it'll be something that it'll take a little bit longer, it'll be fully vetted, it'll be, you know, the public will have a chance to ask them questions or talk to them privately, or whatever it may be. There is that second step, and that's under 2B, 47-4-2206 2B. And I had at the time, because I hadn't had a chance to look at it, it wasn't clear to me if we were doing one appointment today until election day 2016, but it's clear that it's an interim appointment now, and then at some point you'll do a more formal process, deliberate process.
Is there a time period, how soon this has to take
There
place?
isn't a time period, but it makes it clear that, that you, and it doesn't actually require you to do a second appointment, but but basically what it's saying is ensure that the office is filled and there's not a gap
Oh, yeah.
until you can do that process. Second thing I would say is, the person that's appointed now has to have the qualifications of the office. And as we talked about with sheriff, there aren't a lot of specific requirements. But the other office that's going to be vacant today is coroner. And so for the coroner, and that's another place, for the coroner requirement, you are looking at somebody who is, if available within the county, somebody who has completed the coroner basic education. Okay? The second appointment that you do, you actually don't have to, they don't have to be coroner qualified, they have to pledge basically that they will complete the coroner class at the next available. Whether they're elected or appointed, if they do not take the coroner class at the next time it's available, then they void their office and they're out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so we're essentially doing 2 interim appointments, 1 coroner, 1 sheriff.
What it's considered is, you're doing an interim appointment now, and then you will fill the vacancy. The second appointment is you'll fill the vacancy until the voters select the person to complete the term. So consider this interim appointment, number 1. Number 2, filling the vacancy. Number 3, voters select the person to complete the term.
But for today, it's 2 interim appointments, possibly the same person, but
Yes.
1 coroner, 1 sheriff.
Yes, and this
Okay.
person needs to be coroner qualified. The second one, they don't have to be, but they have to, the statute says they have to pledge that they will become coroner qualified. Then, same with the person that's elected, let's say it's someone that's elected that's not coroner qualified. Even if they're elected on November 6th or whatever it is, and I think the next class is in December, if they don't attend that class, they have voided their office, even if they just got elected. They're out.
Wow.
They're out for a coroner. They wouldn't necessarily be out for sheriff. Make sense?
Yeah, this is kind of off the topic, so could you have, say, like an undersheriff or a captain who is essentially the coroner, and then a sheriff that's not coroner certified?
You would have to, the county would have to make a decision right now, that's a consolidated office. The county
Okay.
commissioners would have to make a decision to unconsolidate them or sever the 2 offices.
Okay, I was just curious on that. So, at this point, we are at the 10 o'clock appointment, appoint interim sheriff and coroner, separate, and make a decision on that. So, I think we have only 1 under sheriff here. Is anybody else interested, so that we give everyone a fair shot?
I think we're going with.
Yeah.
All right, do we have any nominations for Brooke?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, then as far as the sheriff portion of this, I would be absolutely proud and honored to be able to nominate Wynn. I think he's done a stellar job as undersheriff for a lot of years. He's done a tremendous job of training. I think he's shown very good judgment and character through all that. So I nominate interim sheriff Wynn Meehan.
That's fine with me. I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to nominate Wynn Meehan as interim sheriff. Is there any comments from the public? Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye, motion carries. Who is our other aye out there? Thank you very much, I like that. All right, same thing with coroner. I nominate Win Meehan for the same reasons and with the same honor.
Yeah, because he already is, so I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Win Meehan, the interim coroner. Any discussion, comment? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries, thank you very much. And then with that, Ann, we will need Doug here in a few minutes, and we can swear in Win. So determining the hiring process for sheriff. Yeah, I think that'd be perfect. I just had a question for Corey, but Ken will pick it up.
Do we need the judge
I don't think we do two, but we can get him.
to swear in?
Yeah, let's get them both. Would you mind, Brooke? Thanks. So determining the hiring process, timeline, all that, that could be done maybe on Monday. We don't need to necessarily solidify that here today. We could just go ahead and move to the fun stuff, right?
That's fine.
Is that good with you,
You
Franklin?
could wait till January, but I wouldn't wait very long, because you'll want to give people a certain amount of time to apply and all that process,
But
so,
we can decide on a date, like I say, sometime in January probably.
yeah.
Okay.
So, and, yeah.
We have a process for hiring other positions. I would think we'd follow the same thing. Matt Johnson kind of oversaw the hiring of a new commissioner in Jefferson County, and they had quite a process put together that included a public, an evening public forum. Would you talk to him about what they did? That might be a model we want to follow, especially for an elected, or, elected position that's appointed.
Yeah, and are you aware he's not county attorney there anymore?
I thought he was resigning at the end of the year.
No, he's got his new office running, effective 3 days ago.
Oh,
But either way, yeah, I talked to him, I know.
okay, I figured, I knew you were friends, so, all right. Brenda?
I would also suggest that you include the city council in this
Oh,
process
absolutely.
because
That's a good
of
point.
the interlocal agreement.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll just wait for, and is there any public comment before we get to the swearing in? All right.
Make sure you record the oath of office.
We do, or is it?
Oh, it's a joke. John Wright would be up here wanting to see it.
Oh,
And I think I'm gonna move away from the table so that Lynn can have the stage. Lynn, you might as well get up here and get comfortable.
Where am I going?
To the front.
Up in front of the flags,
Front center.
gotta have the flags in the background.
Oh, okay. No recording devices.
Huh?
You want?
Actually.
Video.
Let's do it, then. You want me to go ahead and swear you in since you're right here ready?